our EndNote Citation Management series. I'm Professor Wade Lee Smith, a librarian at the University of Toledo Libraries. In this video, we're going to talk about how we go about inserting our references into a document in Microsoft Word. In other words, how do we actually use EndNote to create the citations that are going to go into our Word document. So obviously we're going to be talking about using this in Microsoft Word. We'll talk a little bit about output styles, and then we're going to talk about how you might go about editing your citations so that they work best in Word. So first of all, let me start back over in our EndNote library. You may have noticed that when you are clicked on a citation, you have the options of reference and preview. It looks a little bit different in a Mac where you'll see both the reference and the preview at the same time, but this will preview your citation in whatever style you are showing up here at the top in your EndNote library. So for example, if I choose APA 6th edition, it's going to show me that reference as it should be in APA 6th edition with authors, years, article titles, journal titles, volume, issue, date, and DOI. If I were to switch to a different style, for example, the American Chemical Society style, which uses numbers, I see that it's now number 1. I have much of the same information, but it appears slightly differently. So I have different things in bold, I don't have the DOI, etc. And so that previews what kind of citation style you're using. So we've got some common ones up here, but they do not show all of the styles. And so if I want a style that's not here, I would click on select another style. Over 400 styles are downloaded when you download your EndNote. So I'm going to choose EndNote 8th edition, for example. And so this would be how this would be cited in EndNote. Again, it will change slightly. If you do not see the style that you want here, and you can't find it amongst the ones that are downloaded, you can always go to endnote.com and go to their download section to look for a style for a journal or a society or some other style that they do not have in the program, but they might have online. You can download it and use it from there. So let's go over to Microsoft Word. When you install EndNote, it is going to install a new toolbar in Microsoft Word. So you'll see it along the top here, EndNote X9, and you'll notice it has some functions that go along with EndNote. Right at the side, they have an option to insert a citation. And this will allow you to search through the references in your open library. So if I type in Tasmania, it's going to find ones that talk about, that have the word Tasmania in them. So here it's right in the title, and I can insert it into my manuscript. It's going to inherit whichever style you were using over an EndNote. So I'm going to switch this back to APA 6th style, for example. And so you notice it inserts it into the text. APA 6 uses a parenthetical style in text citation, and then it inserts it at the end of your paper as well with the full reference. If you want to format how this appears, right in this section, if you click on the arrow, you can go and tell it which style that you're using. You can also tell it how this is going to be laid out. So for example, if you're going to label your reference list references, you can also tell it what type of spacing that you want. So if I say I want double spacing in my references, it will add a title and double space all of the references for me. So that's one way that you can get them in here. If I type another sentence, I can also go to EndNote itself and do a search in here. So I'm going to say Northern Harry, find one of these that I might cite. And what you'll notice is that I've got the double quote here, which will insert this back into my paper wherever my cursor was. Multiple references at a single point are not a problem. You would just, when you searched, you would choose multiple references and they would put them all together. Now, if I want to add more information or remove any information from this, I can do that as well. The easiest way to do that is to click on Edit and Manage Citations, go to the one that you want, and if you need to add information to the reference, under Edit Citation you can add a page number, for example. So I'm going to say 9 through 11. If on one of these I want to remove the year, for example, I can do that under formatting. I can tell what parts of this I want to exclude. So that way, if I've mentioned it in the sentence, I don't need to mention it again in the reference. You can see all the changes I've made have been made here. Now, if I notice that my references are not all formatted correctly, for example, in APA format, in the title, you would not want capitalization except for the first word, last word, and an actual proper nouns. And so what I can do is I would not want to edit that here, because if I edit that here, as soon as I update my references, it will go back and look in EndNote to see how that looks. So let's go to EndNote to edit that Fraser reference. I'll notice that in document 1, I've used these references. I can go here to the one that I want, and I can either edit it right here under the reference, or if I double click, I'll also be able to edit it. So I'm going to actually select all of that and tell it I want a new capitalization. I want this in sentence case. And then I'll just have to make capital anything that needs to be capitalized. And so Australian should be capitalized as well. And then when I'm done, all I need to do is save that or close that, and it will prompt me to save it. And then when I go back to Microsoft Word, when I update those references, that will be updated as well. Okay? So, we can use Microsoft Word to put citations in. We can do it either from Word or from EndNote. We can change our output style to match what we want. And if something doesn't look right, we can always edit the citation. We just remembered that we need to do that in EndNote.